Yesterday, I was downtown Chicago. I was at a mayor's caucus meeting, and the governor came and addressed the mayor's caucus. I got to have about 30 seconds with him there, and then at 1 o'clock we walked to the state building through South Urban's mayor's managers. There were about 15 of us mayors from the south suburbs that got a sit-down meeting with the governor. And we got to meet with him probably a good hour to talk about the proposed cuts he's making. We got to talk to him about the south suburbs, a little bit about his way of thinking. You know, the governor is looking at this from the northwest suburbs point of view. He thinks communities have an excess amount of money sitting in their coffers. As we all know, the north suburbs, the northwest suburbs are pretty wealthy. He's not looking at it as the south suburbs. You know, we have everything out here from your millionaires all the way down to the poorest level of poverty that you can see. We have a full range of diversity in this area. And our message to the governor was, we need to come to the south suburbs. You know, you look at Sauk Village, right now we're facing currently a little over a $15 million deficit. The schools have approximately $16 million in surplus. Now, looking at the tax rate coming in, it's not consistent. When you look at your tax bill, if you were to put together a pie chart for the tax bill, you'd probably find a large majority, probably 3/4 or more, of it goes to your schools. Goes to the District 168, goes to Boone Township, goes to Prairie State College. A large amount, probably more than 2/3 of that pie chart. Sauk Village gets a little bitty sliver. And then when Sauk Village levies taxes and raises taxes, it's not based on that full amount. Sauk Village gets that little bit portion. So if we take that little bitty sliver, we raise it by 2%. We're raising that little bitty sliver by 2%. So looking at that, you know, the governor has some good ideas, and the governor's faced with challenges. We went and met with the governor and said, you know, as mayors, we want to work with you, but we need to make sure you have the right information. That's what's important. We're not a Schaumburg. We're not a Orland Park. You know, and you can go through a lot of these northwest suburbs. They have a lot of money. They have businesses. They've got malls. Schaumburg's got one of the largest malls here in Illinois, Woodfield Mall. Orland Park has got Orland Square Mall. These are large communities. These are communities that over years, because of all the businesses they have, they were able to get a surplus. But at the same time, some of the smaller communities, if we have money earmarked, it's money we can't touch. Or it's money that we have to borrow that we have a certain amount of time to make sure we pay that money back. Okay? You know, the governor's looking at the whole, and he says, well, between all the communities in the state of Illinois, you've got so many $1 billion of surplus. If you look at Sauk Village, normally we don't have a surplus. He talks about our capital expenditures. We've cut capital expenditures for the last 2 years to just about nothing. Money that we may have in certain areas is TIF, you know, and those are for TIF allocated expenses. So, you know, we were sending a message to the governor. The governor's talked about, well, he's going to put more money towards schools this year. Well, it's good. But his way of thinking is by putting more money to schools, it's going to help the municipalities. Again, the wrong way of thinking. You know, that's the problem we have with a lot of residents in Sauk Village, right? They come to the village board meeting and want to complain about the schools. The schools are they told us about taxing money. And I think it's one thing the governor is we try to educate him yesterday. He's a very educated man. Don't get me wrong. He is CEO. You know, you don't get to that position and have as much money as he has by just being stupid. But there's a little bit of education because the corporate world is ran a little different than the municipal world. Okay? The city of Chicago, just, you know, school districts fall into the city of Chicago. But here, it's a total separate tax code. So as he wants to give more money to the schools, his way of thinking is me giving more money to the schools is going to help your municipality. Now, we're going back to them and asking how. I have no power over the board of schools. In fact, my school district has got a lot of money. You know, he thinks that the schools are ran by the unions, and that the union bosses have come in and taken over school boards. You know, and as Southborough mayors, we told him, we said, I don't see union bosses running our schools. We've got normal people that are residents in Sauk Village that run for a school board and get elected. So, he's got some wrong information. We're hoping to get some more, some of the correct information. I got to personally talk to the governor and talk to him about Sauk Village's water situation. He knew nothing about it. He knew nothing about in 2009 our water was final chloride was found in our water. He knew nothing about how our wells were shut down. I think what happens is you get a governor come in, he looks at, the previous governor got ran against, gave your town some money, I'm cutting it. And that's just my opinion. Okay? But I explained to him, I said, you need that money. As of August of this year, we have to start paying back a loan of $260,000 a year for the 2 years of the loan. If we don't get that forgiveness grant, we have to make the first payment in August. Okay? Now, what am I doing as your mayor? Yesterday, I got to talk to the governor. Yesterday, I attended 2 meetings. So my face, a representative of Sauk Village, was in front of his face. And I made sure whenever I sat in front of him, I was directly in front of him. So when he looked at the crowd, because the first meeting I went to, there was probably over 100 mayors, I made sure I was sitting right there. So when he looked out, he saw me. I made sure when I went down and sat with him, with Southborough mayors and managers, I was right in his face. I made sure before I left there, he had my card in his hand that said Sauk Village. I made sure that before I left there, he knew that Sauk Village had an issue with our water. We need that money. Now the governor, when he came in office, he put a stop to over $5 million worth of projects going on in Sauk Village. Over $5 million. You figure the 4.8, which is pretty close to $4.9 million. We were around that up to 4.8. $4.8 million for our water. $205,000 for Air Park. Another $75,000 for infrastructure. Another $175,000 for roads and streets. He's looking at cutting, which affects not only Sauk Village, but every community in the state of Illinois, cutting all of our MFT funds. That is all of our road projects. We got $400,000 worth of road projects this year alone. Really, if you look at the numbers, the true numbers is $600,000, but we know that one of them, we always estimate we're going to get half. So we've got 2 projects, one for $400,000, and a project for $200,000. The $200,000 should go through. You have the $400,000 we expect to get half. $400,000 worth of road repairs this year. Now, he's not just looking at Sauk Village and say, the previous governor did this for me, so I'm cutting it. Cut it across the board for all municipalities. And as mayors, we stood up and said, we need that money. We had one of the worst winters, not this year, but last year. Said it was like 10 years combined with the winters to our roads. Roads across Illinois looked like they were bombed like in Iraq. You're hitting potholes everywhere. It's not just a local problem, it's a statewide problem. But at the same time, we go in there and talk to the governor, we feel, number one, we want to work with him. It's not just a feeling, we do definitely want to work with him. But we understand, especially if you're looking at a mayor that really understands, coming into a position sitting in a deficit. 2.5 years ago, we were close to $20 million in deficit. Now we're just a little over $15 million. We worked very hard to turn things around. Now we're at the point 2 years in, even though we're still in a deficit, we're going to be making some changes in this budget. As a mayor for the last 2 years, 2.5 years, I've worked, day and night for the residents of Sauk Village. But I feel there's more that can happen if we have the right people in that position. That's why you're going to see it's going to be all over the place soon, but as soon as the agenda comes out, you can be the first one to hear about it. Okay? There's 2 positions I'm asking the board to approve. This next roll-on review, this next week. 2 positions. One position we have in front of me. One position is an administrative position. Another position is a safety resource officer at the municipality. Why is that? Okay. One, I work a full-time job. I come back at night from my full-time job, and I'm making phone calls. I'm sending emails out, trying to reach people who tried reaching me during the day when I'm working my full-time job. Sending messages back to them saying, please send me an email with additional information. I know you're already gone for the day. Because I'm calling them at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, and I'm leaving messages on their voice recorder, just like they left messages for me. We need someone in here to help run the day-to-day operations. Am I comfortable right now with what's happening in Sauk Village? I'll be honest with you, as mayor, no, I'm not. And I always say that is because, again, I gotta be careful how I say this because I'm not a micromanager. I, in my job, in my new job, I am a senior supplier of quality engineering. Previous jobs I've been quality engineer and quality manager. I have ran companies on the quality side globally and across the U.S. You figure when I was at Fellows, I worked out at Casca, our corporate headquarters. But I had facilities where I had quality people reporting to me in Hazel Park, I had people reporting to me in Las Vegas, I had people reporting to me in Canada. We also had our factory group out of Asia. So I'm used to running multiple locations. In my full-time job, I can still do it here, and I still do. Okay? But on my full-time job, I was able to travel to places to find out what was the updates and I was there. Okay? I work a full-time job, and when I get home, my department heads are gone. Your department heads are gone. Okay? I take vacations every once in a while. My vacations are for building business. You might see me around here on a date because I'm going around seeing my police chief sitting there. What's Kevin up to? What's Public Works doing? That's my vacation time. I need someone here that can see the day-to-day operations, can work with the departments, find out exactly what they need, get things done during the day, and report back to the mayor's report. Okay? This is important. They can also go out and reach out for grants. I talk about this year's a tough year. I'm considering and it's very, very, and you're the first ones hearing about this. The board hasn't heard anything about it. And, it's easy to talk to you because my board members are here, so I don't have to worry about having one meetings back, right? But, for the last year and a half, we had a consultant, a lobbyist, down in Springfield. Did a great job for us. Still doing a great job for us. And you hear a lot of people complain, it's $36,000 a year, $3,000 a month. But the work that they've done for us and making sure that Sauk Village is known in Springfield is valuable. Okay? So I'm looking at maybe this year we're going to go ahead and, as I look at the budget, do we keep them or do we let them go? Okay, it's a tough decision. But again, bringing on an administrator will help with the day-to-day operations, will help with the going out for those grants. Again, answering those calls during the day, talking directly to these departments, working with our state representatives. So we are looking at that. We're talking about the safety resource officer. Okay? Safety resource officer, I've been looking at our police department, we've been looking at our fire department, we've been looking at our safety parts. Okay? What do they do? Okay? Crime is everywhere. But the crime that affects me and really irritates me is what happens here in Sauk Village. So bringing someone in to be able to work with the police department, start looking at what can we do, what changes need to be made. Someone with the experience running a department, someone with the experience of knowing what needs to be done. I'm not saying that the people we have over there don't know what they're doing. I'm saying sometimes it's best to bring someone in from the outside and to take a look at what we're doing. So here we are, 2 years into the administration. There's going to be changes. Some people may say this is my mid-year term, if I was president, right? Some want to say it's a duckling, was a lame duck discussion. I'll tell you what, it's not. Because we're going to get stuff done. We're planning for the next 4 years already. Right? So, just like it's an election year now, you hear people saying stuff. It's funny when I hear people talk, because I'll be honest with you, I was a young, unexperienced, I had a little bit more experience than some of these people want, I'll be honest with you. You think about it, before I even ran for office, number one, I was involved in the police department. I was a cadet program. I was involved in community involvement with, we had carnivals, we had events, I was involved there. I was a zoning commissioner at one time. At one time I was a chair, vice chair. So I knew what was going on. I was attending board meetings. Okay? And you think about it, one reason I ran for trustee in 1999 is because sitting on the zoning board, we had businesses come before us. They wanted to come to town. Zoning board would approve it. I'd come back in here, we were in the other building at the time. I'd sit in the audience and watch trustees tear it down. I'm like, I'm doing all this work as a zoning commissioner, and nothing's going through. I got to run. I got to do something about it. Because I want businesses come to our community. That was in 1999 when I first ran for trustee. So, You know, I listen to some of the things that people are saying, and I talk to some of these young, unexperienced people running for office. They make statements. They say, I went to one meeting and the woman said, the village board meetings are in disarray, and I'm trying to think what he said. I can't remember exactly what he said. And I walked up to him after the meeting and said, hey, can you tell me what's wrong with the board meetings? Because what you're explaining kind of reminds me of the previous administration. I'm just asking what's happening under this administration. Because if there's something wrong, I want to make sure we get it changed. So, it's just a little bit, again, here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions, but kind of give you a little bit of what's going on. Kind of a broad overview of some of the things that we're working on. I think, and then other people walk in. Yeah, I got more right here. We've got the questions and answers from the last Meet the Mayor. Go ahead and get these passed out. And then some of you that came in earlier, they've got some new ones that came in, you may not have them. That's from our last Meet the Mayor. One thing we want to do is, we mentioned it earlier, but it seems like when residents come out to something like this, they walk away with questions. And we want to, I don't know if Sharon got one. Sharon. Okay. We want to make sure we try to answer your questions. I may not know all the answers today. So as you come to these, we're having these every month, the second Saturday of every month. We want to make sure you have something in your hand from the last meeting. Here was the questions and answers from the last meeting. Okay. We'll get these posted on the mayor's Facebook page. Right, give them to Debbie, see if she wants to send them out through an e-alert. But getting this information out. Sometimes questions get answered, or questions, you may get questions from the first meeting and second meeting. So some of these questions, I think there may be a couple on there that are repeats. But you know, they were still asked. Or one of the residents came up to me after the meeting and asked a question, maybe they wanted to say something. We still got the questions and answers on there. You'll see there's no names. So no one has to worry about the mayor's putting my name on a piece of paper and everyone in the world is going to know that I asked a question. It's not. So, let's open it up to some questions and answers and see what you have.
Is there something the residents can do when you're meeting with the governor that we as a community can send something to him saying, we need help with this, or invite him out?
Definitely.
Invite him out there.
We've already invited him out here. I don't know if he's going to come or not. He's pretty busy right now. But, there is things that can happen. And I would encourage everyone to get on, there's a Facebook page called IML, Illinois Municipal League. Okay? They just put a link out there that anybody can hit. And I sent it out to the Board of Trustees. I had Debbie send it out to them. That you can go on there and you can oppose some of the changes that the governor's making. Okay? I went out there and I opposed the 50% reduction of our, what do you call it, LGDF, okay? And this is what we talk about, acronyms, everything's acronyms, right? Local governmental distributive funds, okay? Give you a little bit of history on that. 1969, sales tax was implemented in the state of Illinois. For Springfield to get that passed, they made an agreement with mayors across the state of Illinois. If they would support it, they would get a certain percentage of the sales tax. Okay? It's been since 1969. Now, the past governor took a certain percentage away from us. It was a low percentage. They stopped paying us. But again, what the previous governor did was he made agreements with former mayors, this is before I was a mayor, across the state of Illinois, that if you take those cuts, don't worry, you'll get those cuts back. Well, here it is time for us to get that money back. The new governor comes in, he's cutting them 50%. Okay? It's not right, because I'll tell you why. Those funds are used for your police, fire, public works. That's the funds we use for plowing your streets. That's the funds we use for salt, buying our salt. You know, the 50% cut that the governor's talking about is over $500,000. That's 50. You know, we get currently right now something like $90-some, almost $100 per resident based on the sales tax for everything. He wants to cut that by $50. So you figure Sauk Village has about 10,500 residents. You take $50 times 10,050 or 10,500 residents. That's how much money we're losing. Okay, that's just one cut that we're talking about making. Now, let's put a little bit more into perspective. Over $500,000. That's 1/6 of our police department budget. That is almost 100% of our fire department budget. That is 1/4 of our public works department budget. So it puts it a little bit more in perspective what we're facing this year when it comes to our budget. So, is it devastating? Yeah. I'm going to say yes and no. Okay. You know, in Springfield, they want to say everyone's got to take a haircut. I've been saying for the last 2 years, everyone's got to tighten their belts. Right? We've been tightening our belts. They've been loosening them in Springfield. Now they turn around and tell us we have to take a haircut. It's not right. We worked very hard to make sure we put out balanced budgets. We worked very hard to make sure that we go back and pay off our debt. Now, do we have debt? You figure our deficit, a large portion of it is the pensions. A pension that was an unfunded mandate passed down from Springfield onto us. Sauk Village is the only one that has this problem. It's across the state. I can't remember how many billion dollars right now the city of Chicago is hurting on their pension. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. It's a race that we will not win. We are losing every year because of the way they have it. They have these incentives. Let me tell you a little bit about it. You know, they say let's take a look. It's for police and fire. Okay? Do our police officers and firefighters deserve their pensions? Yes, they do. But the way these pensions are set up, it's a losing battle for municipalities. And I'll tell you why. It's because when someone decides to retire, they get their pension. It's something like 5 years into their pension, they will be making more than what they're making currently. 5 years into it. Then, you think about police officer and fire department, they can retire at a younger age. So is it 55 or something like that? They can retire. You know, a person like you and I have to wait till I'm 72. That's that many more years. Now, if that person sitting on that pension passes away, it gets passed off to their spouse. The way that the pension is written currently, you take a municipality like ours, if they continue, if there's not reform done to this pension, there's going to be a time that I have no doubt we will be paying more people on pensions than we will be paying those working for our village. The numbers have been done, and again, I'm in quality. I look at the numbers. The numbers there, and they show. I mean, you look at our workforce. We've got people working for us right now that have over 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. They're going to retire sooner or later. So what's going to be happening is as people retire, we have to hire more, and we're going to be paying people here, and we're going to be paying people working for us. So there has to be something done to the pension. There has to be something done to the non-funded mandates that are coming out of Springfield. They pass them all the time. It's easy for them to pass stuff. Well, if you're going to pass it, pay for it. Give us the money to do it. So, and that's one thing we talked to about the governor. You know, we talked to the governor about the Indiana Expressway. That's important to the south suburbs. That's jobs. That is, you know, think about how many people do you know that work here, that live here in Sauk Village, that have a job less than 20 miles from their house? You know, it was nothing for us growing up. I mean, I worked at Sauk for 14 years. For 14 years, my car didn't even warm up before I got to the parking lot. When Throwout Car closed down, look at all the other jobs that closed down around Throwout Car, because they all supported that railroad industry. You know, I ended up taking a job 60-some miles away. And I didn't get that job until 7 months later. I was on unemployment for 6 months. I had no extensions. My wife had just got pregnant. I'll never forget it. Here we are. My unemployment just stopped. My wife's pregnant with her 10th child. Thinking, what am I going to do? A month later, that job. It was scary. Scary times. So, you know, just to give you an idea, The Atlantic Expressway is important to Sauk Village. The third airport is important to Sauk Village. You know, what they say, the end of the nearest runway is 8 miles from Sauk Village, but what's important to Sauk Village is 394 Route 1 will be the trucking route. That means you'll see nothing but industrial, you'll see commercial improvements all through here. They're going to need more UPS facilities, FedEx facilities, distribution facilities, all along through here and Route 1. Your passenger route will be 57. That's why you've already seen build-up along 57 when it comes to hotels and food establishments, so people can eat. That's another thing we talked about right now. That's why it's important. Let's go on. You got it. If I'm talking too much, wait that now. If you have another question, another question. I think you have one. Oh, thanks. I talk too much.
I'm old.
And you know, they say there's 5 things you know when you're getting old, right? First one is you lose your memory. I can't remember the other 4. Yeah, I'm here every night for 7 night. Go ahead. It is. It's going to be on the agenda.
Where do you find it? How do you find it?
It's
Somebody that's qualified.
it's going off, and it's a lot of research, and it's going out and doing the homework. You know, one thing you'll see on there, sometimes I get a little sarcastic. I have to be honest with you. Just a little bit.
No.
So, you know, one thing is on there. You'll see amongst questions. It talks about, you know, trustees. I put my little sarcastic note at the very end. It's kind of like, you know, a trustee is kind of like, you have to know, you have to do your homework. You know, I know someone asked a question at the last meeting, let's do it, we think of a bobblehead board. We definitely don't have a bobblehead board. We got a board that does their homework. Okay, and just because a board member doesn't ask a question during a board meeting, doesn't mean they didn't do their homework. You know, and the very end, where I get my little sarcastic note in there, it's kind of like when you're in school. You don't go the day of the test and ask the teacher to teach you what you're getting ready to be tested on. Okay? You've got to do your homework. Now, I was a trustee for 14 years. Now, there was nothing for me on Friday night coming here, getting my packet, going home, sitting down with my packet. If I had a question, pulling out the state statute handbook, and going off and saying, can we actually do this? You know, and reading state statute. You know, that's what your trustees are doing. They're asking questions. I can't tell you how many times where I'm sitting here late one night and I get Trustee Morton comes walking in and saying, I got a question about this. And he's going over his questions and saying, well, here's where you can get the information. You know, you look at this information, you have no questions, come back and talk to you. You know, Trustee Myers, senior, he's been around for a long time. He still has questions on some of the things that we bring to the board. And I do the same thing. I say, here's the reason we're doing it. You know, and that's my job as a mayor. My job as a mayor is to make sure that the trustees are informed what's going on. But the old saying is you can't lead a horse to water. If they don't come and ask questions, you know, I can provide them as much information through paper and for links, but if they don't come and ask me a question until they get to a board meeting, shame on them. Shame on them.
This maybe, I don't know if you can answer this question now, but are some of these trustees, are they picking the packets up, or are they waiting the last minute to pick the packets up?
Well, see, I just came out of there and I only saw 2 trustees that pulled their packets up last night. So, but it's Saturday. So we got a lot of events going on, so we're coming down to the events and they'll pick up their
No,
packets.
I just don't move the parking lots.
So, again, you know, as a trustee, you've got work to do. You've got to know what you're doing. And again, for some of the new trustees, I was a new trustee. You know, it's like looking at, especially a new trustee, you're like a deer looking at the headlights sometimes. You know, we just got to talk about at the beginning, all those acronyms. You know, think about being a new trustee, you're sitting down and saying, okay, we have an IDOT agreement for us. Like, you're looking at IDOT. You know, where's the dot on the paper? But it comes over time. You know, when you went to school, you didn't start off in kindergarten knowing everything that the 5th graders knew. When you went from 8th grade into junior high, or from junior high to high school, it was like starting all over again. When you graduated from high school and went to college, you were the new guy on campus. It was like starting all over again. You're sitting in some of those classes, and you got those college professors and standing up there, and they're rumbling stuff off. And you're in your first year, you're trying to keep down on what was possible. That's what some of the new trustees are doing. Again, we don't really have new trustees. They're getting into it. They're 2 years into it. You're a youngest trustee. So there's learning.
You know, what I was thinking, looking at right now, was like when one type person was up here, that was going to be our draw to shipping things to other servers. But when you have a person going behind you, saying to the person, well, if you come to Sauk Village, it's crime, this and crime there. I know you can't stop it, but when that particular person do stuff like that, it should be brought right back to the components board. So look, this is why Max Jones didn't come here, because this guy did this. The same thing is when they be sent there shouting and going on about the water and this and that, about the price of this. Every week, I mean, well, we want this, you cannot afford this. Explain it, because the Levi kids saying, oh no, he just holding back and things like that. To me, it's just that it's making me sick of it. I really am sick of it. We keep talking about it. And if you went here right now and said, well, you know, from now on, right here at the corner here, we're going to charge you 50 cents just to turn that corner. Oh, no, we can't afford that. But somewhere you got to look at it. You can't say you want $1 million and don't want to spend a dime. It just don't work that way. And if you keep turning away projects that come into our village, we cannot do that. Now, I know you cannot do this. But get ready to, we looked the other day to talk about stickers on the car. And I know you can't do it. But I said to myself, I said, what if you went and said, everybody comes to vote for it, park your cars, don't have a sticker, but you can ticket. How many people say will come to vote?
Well, let's find out. We know a lot of ID citizens, all right? And maybe a couple of the ones who not at first, and when they see people getting pulled over, they just keep on driving by, right? But again, I think that's why they got state laws that say you can't have police officers outside a voting booth because you're scaring them off. You know, you bring up some good points. Before I answer that real quick, I know some new people have walked in. Over on the table there, we've got Post-its, and we've got a board facing the opposite way. There's pens on the table. If you have a question, if you don't feel comfortable asking a question, you can write it down on a Post-it, take that Post-it, throw it on the board. It's facing the opposite way. If I see a lot of people going over there, every once in a while I'll go over and grab one, and I'll bring it up if we don't have any questions. But now let's talk about, you bring up two things. You talk about businesses, you talk about water. Okay? Don't let me forget about water. I'll go back to it. Businesses, you're right. We do have a group that every time they find out businesses looking at Sauk Village, they're trying to discourage them from coming into Sauk Village. It's a ever-fighting battle. I've got a business currently right now looking at one of our tips. They've contacted Southport Mayor's Managers. Southport Mayor's Managers contacted me. We reached out to them. They said, oh, we hear about all this crime we've got in Sauk Village. You're coming in from another country. I'll tell you that. Okay? What can you tell us about your crime? We put together a brief description. You know, we do have a couple areas in our residential area, in our town that have crime. We are working on those. But in the area when you're looking at, there's no crime. So we're putting together those numbers so that they bring their business from out of country into Sauk Village. They're in another country. Okay? We face that. The important thing is working with these companies. Like another company, there was a couple different companies we worked with, and they had the same thing, where someone contacted them. And they ended up realizing, you know, every community has your naysayers and your negative people. So all they're looking for is the numbers. We provide those numbers. Like I said earlier, I'm in quality. Okay? You make your decisions, you base your decisions off those numbers. We provide those numbers to them, they go back and verify it. You know, if they come to Sauk Village, you know, it's great. We tell everyone the challenge we face on every single business is to the east of us, is Indiana. To the south of us is Will County. We just gave a Class 8 to almost $800,000 business, our building sitting over here. Class 8 is a tax incentive for that building, so they could get someone to come in. We tell you what it did was, it made it, that building was at $2.90 per square foot to put someone in there, down to 95 cents per square foot. That makes Sauk Village a little bit more insights, or not sites, incentive. It's incentive for them coming. What else are we doing for those businesses? We're looking at not only just Class 8, we're looking for other incentives for the county and state. Do they have workforce incentives that we can provide? Depending on the amount of employees they bring, we can give them incentives for that. Is there utility incentives, tax incentives that we can give them to come to Sauk Village? Because I'll tell you why. Even at 95 cents per square foot, we're still higher than Indiana. Will County is between 45 cents and 75 cents per square foot. We're still higher than Will County, even with all the tax incentives. Give you one more example. Advance Auto. They're here now. Okay. Advance Auto, we worked through everything with them. To be honest with you, before we brought to the board, because we didn't know for sure we were coming, they're not coming. They're coming, they're not coming. Okay. Worked together with the committee that I put together. We've got people from the county involved, we got people from the state involved. At that level, we got South Florida mayor's managers involved, we got our attorneys involved. You know, we had multiple meetings with Advance Auto. Came down to the very end, Advance Auto says, well, if you get us that Class 8, we'll come in there. Think about this, they took 5 vacant buildings, it's been vacant for how many years? They put that Advance Auto in there. Do you know that after I brought it to the board, they started receiving calls telling them you don't want to bring Advance Auto to your community, to this community, because they'll come in and they'll rob you blind. They'll break in and steal all your stuff. Advance Auto came back to us and said, you know, we're getting these calls, I want you to know. Now, the people calling us are refusing to give their names. So, you know, we know for sure. I can tell you another business that came to us. And what's funny is because I've got a trustee that doesn't think this person talked to me because they were a different color. But they talked very much to me. They told me how this one trustee took the information that they provided in confidence, provided it to another community, and turned around and told them that they didn't want to come to Sauk Village because the mayor was racist, because the mayor belongs to a cult. You know, and not only racist, that I'm a male chauvinist because this person was a female. And what's funny is because she came and talked to me. Now, the business ended up not coming to Sauk Village. In fact, it's not in the other community either. Okay? So, kind of give you some examples. Let's go back to water for a minute. You know, everyone's pushing really hard for that Michigan water. I met yesterday with a mayor by the name of Carrie Durkin. Carrie Durkin is the mayor of Glenwood. Okay? Glenwood has Lake Michigan water currently. You know Lake Michigan, you know that Glenwood is looking to go back to wells. They've already started to get their application together to go back to wells. Do you know that the residents of Glenwood right now, this is what he told me. Okay? I didn't go back and research it yet. I told him, I said, I want that information because I want to give it to my residents. But according to him, the residents of Glenwood right now for Lake Michigan water are paying $11 per 1,000 gallons for Lake Michigan water. And it's going up. You're right. That's what he said. That's why they've already started all their applications, getting them prepared to go back to drill wells. He goes, I can put wells in the ground. He goes, even if I got to do what you did by putting permanent air strippers, I can still do it cheaper than what my residents are paying now. And our residents are paying $7.50 per 1,000. And complain. That's good. He told me to go back with a Homewood too. Homewood, I guess, it's got Lake Michigan water. Their rates just went up also. So you got to give some good information. We're going to put that information and we'll give it to the residents. There you go.
Does it have to go back to a referendum again, or does it not? Because we're going to be exceeding what they projected originally, so will it have to go to the referendum?
Well, the last referendum was twofold. They said, number one, shall the village of Sauk Village pursue Lake Michigan water? Okay? We're still pursuing Lake Michigan water. Now, what's part of pursuing? Part of pursuing is talking to other agencies, talking to other companies, looking at our water department. Part of pursuing is fixing our infrastructure, repairing our fire hydrants. That's all part of pursuing, because we know we have to get a certain rate of water leakage. The other part of it says something about at a cost or not to exceed, I don't remember the exact wording, was it $10 and some odd cents? Okay, so it's under $11 per 1,000 gallons. Currently, we can't do that. In fact, I don't know how many residents remember after that referendum passed, the village board moved it back up to that rate. And all of a sudden, the board started throwing the pressure from the residents and said, okay, you know, we're bring it down to $7.50 because $7.50 is what we need to be. Okay, so the residents have already had a reduction of about $3 per 1,000 gallons. And we saw it for a very short period of time, because as soon as the board passed it, tell you what, Sauk Village residents are the best lobbyists you could ever have. Because those trustees' phones were ringing off the hook. So, again, it was for a very, very short time that it was there. Yes,
Everybody's talking, many people, not folks, they're talking about transparency in government. That's a semantic word people use, whatever. What do you consider transparency in government?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think it's funny because when someone walks up and says you're not transparent, I ask the first question I ask them is, what are we not transparent on? They can never give you an answer.
Right. I know that, but I'm saying, when you hear the word, what does it mean?
You know, transparency is making sure that we're doing everything we can, that we provide the information to the residents, that when a resident asks a question, if we provide the information, that's transparency, in my opinion. Okay. Now, is there certain things that we cannot share with residents? That's why the board has its executive session hours, where we can go back and talk about pending litigation. We can talk about personnel. You know, I mean, there's like 5 things that we can discuss. That's why the board uses that, especially when you're dealing with, you know, negotiating contracts. You know, I can't come out and talk to a resident when we're negotiating a contract, because by the time we pass it, it could look like something totally different. The word will get on the street, oh, you're giving them this. When in reality, by the time it's passed, it's not. So, again, you can't talk about the personnel in the public. Now, if I got a problem with, if I got a problem with Mohan, he's safe. I never have a problem with him. If I got a problem with Mohan, that should not be discussed out here. That's his personal and his personnel. That's where it goes in the background. Okay, so, you know, transparency, I don't understand when someone says we're not transparent. Okay, this administration right here is one of the most transparent administrations that this community has ever seen. You know, and that's the problem we're having at probably is because we're too transparent. Again, you can't be too transparent. But we've provided so much information. Residents are like, oh man, you know what? It's been done for the last 15 years. We're just making sure you've got the information. You know, I love it when they want to talk about, you know, we're taking money from the water fund.
Okay.
You know, oh wow, they took $300,000 to go put into your general fund. Well, go back and check your budgets, because our administration took out less than they took out in 2008 and 2009. They were taking out over $300,000 to run administration costs in general fund. We're taking out less. So, you know, again, people not knowing, and sometimes maybe that's what previous administrations didn't tell people, because they were afraid it was going to happen, and I'm feeling the wrath because I'm giving it all up. Right.
Well, this is the second part of that question.
Right.
The answer is you can't, it's fine. When they say transparency, what do you think in your opinion? What do you think they?
You know, it's harder because I don't know, because they can't answer the question themselves.
Right.
You know, and some of these people I'd be afraid to think like them.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's difficult, you know, when someone says you're not transparent. And when you ask them, well, what are we not transparent? What information do you want? And they sit there with this dumb look on their face. Like the statement we used earlier, like a deer looking in the headlights. Like, you know, they were expecting a question. So.
I think it's a perception thing, because one of the new trustees is campaigning on the fact that we don't have transparency. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, maybe he doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes, because how could he know? He's brand new. He doesn't know what goes on. So how could we assure the perception that we are doing everything that's should be done.
And you bring up a good statement there, what's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. I mean, I don't tell the residents everything I'm doing every single day. I mean, if you all just walked in here today, you found out I was down in Chicago all day yesterday, meeting with them. Okay? I mean, maybe if they want a little bit more transparency, maybe it should be out there saying, you know, here I am meeting with the governor. I took pictures. And maybe if I get time, I'll go on my Facebook page, and that's a problem. I don't have time for Facebook anymore. I mean, in the morning, I'm doing good if I get on there and wish someone happy birthday, I put something out there real quick, and then I'm gone. And I talk to my daughters and my kids all the time, you gotta do more work for me. The thing is, I have to give them the information. It's like this morning, I'm sitting here typing up the stuff, finishing the questions and answers, and Linda said, well, why didn't you just give it to us? I said, because I have to give you the answers. It's just, I might as well just type it. So, but that's it. Okay.
Do you ever sleep? No.
A little bit. I was in bed, before midnight last night, but I was up at 4:30, 45 this morning.
When you go into executive session and you're talking about things that should not be discussed out here,
Right.
and then boom, next thing you know, it's out here, and you know it's leaked out somewhere. We used to go through that with another individual, particularly recorder back there, and before you even come out the door, it's already out. How do you handle stuff like that if it gets out in an unprofessional way to people that don't need to know that information until it's ready to be told? How do you handle it?
Inside or outside? Inside me, I want to share with a person. On the outside, I think sometimes people are looking for me to lose my temper. There are people looking for me to say something that I probably shouldn't. Sometimes I bite my tongue a lot. You know, again, you know who's putting information, everyone does. I mean, if something comes out and 6 trustees walk out that door, and the trustee fleets to a certain amount of people, and those certain amount of people are putting the information out before we get home, you know exactly where it came from. And I got the same trustee saying that I'm not providing all the information to all the residents, or to all the trustees. It's a lie. The same amount of information that I provide to one trustee goes out to all the trustees. You know, and that's why you're going to find out more and more, you're going to hear me saying stuff during board meetings, because of statements like that. You know, how many people were sitting in the board meeting the other night when you heard me say, April 29th is lobby day. If you want to go, make sure you let me know. Now, lobby day is important for us. It's going to cost us, the residents, a little bit of money for me to get these trustees and myself down in Springfield. But it's money well spent. Because as an elected official, we will be in Springfield talking to our state representatives face to face. We'll be in Springfield. I've already got an appointment with the governor on the 29th with some other mayors. So we can sit down again and talk to them face to face. So the few $1,000, maybe probably less than $5,000 to send, if that's it, the entire board goes. That's why it's important. But do you know, as of today, not one trustee has said anything? Do you know that night, I went back to my computer, I took the email talking about lobby day, sent it to the village clerk, I said, please send this out to the trustees and let me know who's going to the 29th. Not one response yet. But I'll have a trustee sit up here and say, oh, you want to talk to certain trustees. It's not true. I try to sound information because you know it's important. Even though you don't agree with me, it's important that your face is in front of state representatives. That's right. Especially if they're retired. Frank.
One other question. Why is it when you go back there, can't you say to those 6 people, leave your cell phone back there? Because before you get them back there, the guy that's standing up there, he's running outside putting on the Facebook call there. Before you get here, he's back there putting on, you know why? Because that phone is wide open and he hears everything you see. So why can't you ask those guys, please leave your cell phones out here when you go back there? It's okay up here, but back here is private. You shouldn't be allowed to take them back there.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a good thing. Maybe we agree for the board as a policy. You have to remember that I'm dealing with us. I'm not dealing with my children, and I can say, leave your cell phones out here, or put your cell phones on your desk. My children, I can do that. But I'm dealing with elected officials, number one. who are supposed to be adults, who knows the importance of executive session, because they've all taken the Open Meetings Act, they've all taken training on what it means to be an elected official. So, you bring up a good point. I think something like that would be a policy that would have to be put in place. The other problem you run into is sometimes policies, when you get into other administrations or you get to other elected officials, and one they can come in, they can change the policy. And as an elected official, it's up to them if they want to abide by the policy. Okay? It's just like you as a resident, it's up to you if you want to go 35 miles per hour down the Sauk Trail. Okay? Elected officials can get away with almost murder. I'm using that as a loose term. Okay? They're not going to get away with murder. But what I'm saying is, loosely, they can do whatever they want. And there's nothing happening. I think sometimes they want you to try to do something. You know, we talk about, or I was looking into state statute talking about censorship. You know, when I first became mayor, I was acting mayor, I had one trustee that was telling residents, don't pay your water bill. And he was saying all kinds of stuff about misappropriation of funds with no proof, no merit to the statements. Now, I looked at censoring that trustee. But then you look at the whole entire picture. That's what that trustee is doing. So, just like I have a trustee that's really pushing me to try to censor him, but I'm not going to. Because it's a lot easier going out and saying, look at I'm being picked on.
Right.
Because I'm trying to speak for you.
Right.
Well, go ahead. Keep on speaking for them. Go ahead. It's a free country. So, but again, I think it's something we look into a policy. That no cell phone. You know, just like the last meeting, you see someone else asked about someone going around sticking cameras in people's faces. You know, that's something we look at as a policy. And we say, you know, we won't allow cameras inside the boardroom while we're doing it. Now, we're not home rule number one. I don't know if we're not home rule can pass something like that. We're a home rule if we could. But again, I've got no problem with meetings like this and village board meetings being recorded. But I understand the complaint that there was someone running around during one of the meetings and taking a camera and sticking in people's faces. Okay? That's not right. And like I said in that meeting, like I said on this paper, it's the mayor's responsibility to keep the order in the meetings. I think a lot of that stuff, you know, I'll keep a closer eye on. Again, like I said earlier, beginning was supposed to be adults. You know, it's not like Anna there is running around with a camera putting in people's faces. You know, I think the individual must have been 50 or 60 years old. They're older than me. There's one around sitting at a camera in people's face. Yeah, former trustee. So, and yeah, it hasn't happened since, which I'm glad, and I have been trying to keep an eye on it, and hopefully it hasn't happened. But I do try to keep an eye on now that's been brought to my attention. It was kind of humorous, because when you're sitting up there looking at the audience, you see this, almost a senior, walking around taking a camera in people's faces. It was kind of humorous, but I can understand if you were one of the ones with the camera in your face, it probably wasn't humorous to you. So, we'll keep a closer eye on it. What else we got? Those are too easy. That's the tough questions, right?
Just coming to you, we can talk about because I want to be the first one up there when you give it a touch to make that point. Can you please leave this? I mean, maybe coming from me or coming from some audience might sound a little bit. Just tell them, please, when you go back to the video phone. It's just, you don't know how to make me upset me. That I don't know nothing about Facebook. Don't get me wrong. But before you can come, it's already out there. What you talking about back there? I mean, if you would say, well, look, you know what, we're going to go out there and kill the audience. They don't need your word. When you come out here, we all gone anyway. Don't know about it. You ain't got to worry about it.
I'll tell you, we'll try that next executive session. Let's go out and shoot the audience. Okay, let's get out of here.
Well, then you'll know where it's coming from.
Well, we just say we're going to shoot one person.
Oh,
We'll come back and see if it's still out here.
and I tell you another thing. See, a lot of people don't. Where the kids are? If you understand one thing, I get more information from guys that are talking about certain counties than you will, because here and out, it's the same thing. And you get, when you was at exam office, y'all walked up to me and said, "Why this guy so negative was?" Now he's standing right side of you. cut the ribbon. And he said, what? This guy's so negative towards the mayor. I said, that's just the way he is. This is a trustee? I said, yes, he is. Yes, he is. And the same guy left there, went before the egg out there, or whatever this was, came back with the same information from up there, what dead people said the same thing. So, why is it that he is that way? Can you figure it out? Have you tried to figure it out? Why is he so negative or whatever? You came here and said, I'm going to put that table over there because it's in the sunlight. He said, no, put it over there and shine a light on it. Why?
Okay, you bring a good point, and we won't just talk about one individual, okay? I think when some people are bitter, okay, and sometimes it's hard. Certain people don't have a problem with this, other people do. Now, again, one thing is, I can talk to just about anyone. There's certain people that I won't talk to, and especially I don't get eye contact, but I'm not cordial, okay? But there's some people that, if you do something to them, they won't ever forgive it. They just remain bitter. I remember hearing a story about down south about two ladies that lived right next door to each other. And back in 1950 something, this lady's dog got out and got into her flower patch one time. And by then it was like 19, at the time I heard it, something probably like 1990 something. Those two ladies still lived next door to each other, but they didn't talk to each other and they hated each other because something happened back in 1950 something. So it kind of gives you an example. Some people are that way. They take something and they hold it. I got one individual that attacks me constantly. Okay. The funny thing about it is, I lived around the corner from that individual when we were growing up. He lived on the corner of 223rd Place, on 223rd Street. I tell you, that same individual, he was a bully back then, and he's a bully today. The difference is, back then, I didn't stand up to him. I still don't stand up to him. I just, that's the problem with bullying. He's good. I stand up to him. I stood up to him back then. I'll stand up to him today. I said it a little different. The problem is, they're looking for, to be able to say, I'm the boss. That's what bullying is, right? They want to show everybody. They're looking for me to respond to certain things. I'm not going to respond. There's no reason to. Because one, it's a lie. Of course, they want to take the words and they want to twist them. So, they want to attack me on something that happened in 1977? Let me give you an example. 1977, I was in. I guess you say. In 1977, I was 10 years old. But they want to use that and try to put me as being the person when I was 10 years old. Something that happened, and I didn't even know what was happening. If you grew up in our house, my dad kept us very sheltered and made sure that nothing happened to us. And he didn't want us involved in what was happening. So, especially at that age, just like I do with my kids. There's certain things that happen to me as a mayor. I don't bring my Abigail involved in it. She's, 13? And she doesn't know what's going on. Can you imagine when she's almost 50 years old, someone attacking her because of something that I did? When she was 13 years old. So, can I give you an example? People, they want to dig up stuff that happened that you weren't even involved in. They want to say that you were in calls for it. It's crazy.
Well, I made a comment on one of the posts that I am not my father and my son is not me. Because, they were being critical of you, and I said, to the best of my recollection, I said, David is not on trial, nor is he up for election. So why are you the main topic of this trustee election? And what it is, it's a strategy that they use because they haven't got a record to run on. They want to distance themselves from you, and the best way to do that is to oppose you and create difficulties for you so that you have to, so what they're doing is they're creating an aura of dissatisfaction, and that's what they're running on, actually.
Yeah, I heard someone say the other day one of the debates or forums said this village is divided. This village is divided. I'll tell you what, I disagree. There's still some that want to try to divide. divide this village.
Well, did you see how he broke down the attendees of the forum that was held here? He broke it down demographically to the point where it's like, wow, you know, who was trying to notice that?
Right.
It's a diversionary tactic, that's all it is.
You wanted to see a divided village, you should have been here in the previous administration. The only black one sat on this side. This, on that side. I mean, I would come to a village board meetings, and this was like the Nile River,
Yeah.
dividing the Nile River.
Right.
You know, we had, you know, I don't like racially profiling people, but we had white people on this side, and we had black people on this side. And how many meetings we go to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and how many times did there almost open up fist fights in the middle of the aisle, right here in the middle? And people yelling and screaming across the aisle.
Exactly.
You know, I haven't seen that in a long time. And you know what? I see people sitting next to people of different colors, different races. You want to say that board's divided? I think you're thinking 4 years ago. And if you want to say that this village is divided, 4 years ago. I think the village has come a long ways in 2 years. Do we have a long ways to go? Oh, definitely. Yeah, we've got a long ways to go. But I tell you what, when people come down and walk down the streets, I mean, I feel a little bit more safer than I did 3 or 4 years ago. Are you completely safe? No. There's still people that still have a little bit of help. You know, it's funny because, you know, especially some of the seniors come walking down. We have a lot of seniors that walk in our area. We call it the garden section. They feel a little bit safer in our area. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just their perception, or maybe their area is a little bit worse. But it's funny because I'll walk down and I'll see someone a different color kind of looking at them as they're walking, and all of a sudden these kids come by and say, hey, how you doing? Good morning. It's not the response that they're expecting. And I can sit in the house, I can watch, and I can watch these kids, and it's like a total different look on their face. They were not expecting that. You live over in our area, especially in summertime. You know, our yard is the yard of diversity. Yeah, and mud. I don't think we have any grass that grows in summertime. But it's funny to hear these guys talk to each other. You know, I kind of, at times, I'm like, don't say that. Yeah. They know what, they call me this. You know, they call me Sauk, or you know, they call me the white boy, or, you know, it's like they go down to the community center and play basketball. You know, and again, I come from a very competitive family. My kids are very competitive. They get it from their wife. But they go down and they play basketball, and they tell them, you know, I didn't know white boys know how to play. You know, and Sunday I was at the corner, 223rd and Cornell. I was praying with some representatives from Grace United Church of Christ, and then Lawrence from Holy Tabernacle, he came. And we were all sitting there goofing off. You know, we had a prayer, and we were sitting there talking, kind of introducing each other. And, you know, this last year, you know, Lawrence and he had 4 other guys with him, black. Okay, Frank? They were out there playing basketball, and we came up there with a couple of my boys, and Chuck and I. We played basketball with them, and we whipped them. You know, and Lawrence is like, you know, you took us by surprise. We didn't expect that. We didn't expect white boys to know how to play. So he goes off and says, let's play another game. So I think, maybe play 3 games?
Well, we played 2.
And the third one they quit. So they were like, we played 21. Okay, we'll play 21. The first game we beat something like 21-5 or 6. 25-2. 21-2 is what we get. The second game, I think they got up to 5 or 6. The third game, we were up like 15. I think they may have had 1 or 2, and they said, forget it, we walk on the So we were joking about that standing on the corner. And you know, of course, Lawrence said, you know, we play basketball, but you can come back. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a few weeks to, you know, to practice and to work out. You're going to need it. So, again, it's fun. You know, like I said, our yard in the summertime is yard of diversity. It's nothing to come by and see the neighborhood kids of all races out there playing volleyball, or playing baseball in the backyard, or playing football. That's what it's about. You know, we've got a community that everyone knows each other. And, you know, when someone needs some help, we're out there helping each other. And that's what it takes. It takes neighbors to help neighbors. You know, it's about knowing your neighbors. You know, I got Earlene. What was her name? I keep on the car. I know who was her name. Earlene. Thank you. You know, she lives right next door. You know, so it's nothing to go off and make sure she's okay. She's pointing out traffic. She drives a little slow for me. She sure does. Maybe if I see her coming down the street, I try to make sure I get in front of her.
And I tried to catch you one day, I saw you come from the, I couldn't catch up with you.
Oh, yeah. I've always had a left foot. And it doesn't help with this new car. So, but, you know, I every once in a while I catch myself going over speed limit and I'll bring it down so it's just a little over speed. And the funny thing is I'm teaching, I've got Matthew and Joanna learning how to drive. They're going to drive school. Adam, sorry. Adam and Rebecca are going through driving school. And, you know, you'd have to picture my dad is a lot rougher than I am. And I think he gets softer every year because my grandfather was a lot rougher than my dad. You know, growing up, we were afraid of my grandfather. You know, he was a World War II vet. He was an engineer. His job was to go in the war zone and build bridges that had been blown up in the middle of the war zone. He was rough. And then everyone thinks my dad was rough. They should have met my grandfather. You know, my grandfather, man, I tell you. But you know, I'm a little bit softer. But when I was growing up learning how to drive, you know, my dad would sit in the car, and to get our attention, he'd hit the dashboard. And he would go, boom, 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 straight left hand. So, you know, when I tell my kids, you know, I don't hit the dashboard. I don't think But, you know, I tell them, you know, it's 35, not 38. You know, you can't get their attention. But again, I do it for fun because I remember growing up how my dad was. I kind of wondered too if he was laughing already at his brother and he was doing to me. So, I'm kind of like varying from it, but talk a little bit about that past. So, let's get back to some questions here. Any other questions?
Well, Mr. Franklin, Harvey, he and I went to a meeting with one of the church members. We were sitting on the house talking. And we come down, we turn about 4 blocks south of his house on Brookwood. There was a group of kids, and this white one, and there was a group of black people. I said, hold on, let's see. No, stop. Let's see what's happening. Guess what they were doing? Being that he was scared to stop. And I said, well, it's only a block. You don't have to come around this way? Oh, no, I don't come around this way. See, that is what happened with people when they try to make themselves different from a color. You cannot do that. You have to be able to put on. She was standing there. She said, no, they're here every day playing beanbags in my yard. These were kids talking. It didn't make any difference. They were in her yard. But he was afraid because he saw the black kids stand beside the field playing and the kids. I said, well, why are you afraid? This is your block. You don't come around and go, oh, no. And when I pulled around, that's it, pop and drop off in his house.
A very good story because, you know, I've got a gentleman that lives around the corner from me. Big old black gentleman. He walks every morning and every night with this great big old, was it? Pit bull.
No. That's the age hold up.
It's big, right? Yeah. Okay, so, you know, I seen him coming down the road, and I'll be honest with you, he's on my herd. One day I stopped and talked to him. Oh, the nicest guy you ever met. But you know, you see him walking down that street with that dog. Where's this guy? Now, every morning when I'm going out for work, he's walking his dog. I was like, morning, good to see you. He's like, hey, Mayor, have a good day.
Yeah.
You know, it's getting to know your neighbors. You know, and get away from that, you know, I don't want to talk to you about different color.
Exactly.
You know, and it's not just black and white. Okay, we've got a lot of Hispanics living in Sauk. Okay, we just saw the latest numbers. 40-some% is African Americans, 40-some% is Latino, maybe Hispanic, 20-some% is Caucasian, and 2%, sorry, only 2% back there. So I got the other set back here. Let me see, count them. Is he 2%? Frank, you give me some here, because I'll tell you what, you're not holding up your end of the boat.
That's another thing to look at. You know, on the east side of Jeffrey, from the library down past 216th Street, it's all white. Now, a lot of people don't know that. I was telling the trustee the other day, about look, you guys come on, over there by the library on the east side, from that place all the way down. Now, the guy that owned the service station at Glenwood Dyer Road in Torrance,
Okay.
he lived right on the next block, right there behind, right on the next block by the library. He just moved in. And when he moved in, the first thing he said, well, I left to go back and get another load. I came back, somebody took my TV. I said, you gotta be kidding me. He said, no, he said, I'm not afraid. I'm gonna stay here. I said, well, good to see you come in.
Hey, you know, believe it or not, I hear there's white people that want Peterson Avenue also.
That's okay.
Don't listen because I'm saying there's not, but, you know, I know this one. I do too.
I do, I know.
Yeah, I know there is. Well, any other questions? I kind of like this, I'll be honest with you. I kind of like having the talking back and forth. Sometimes I know I do talk a little bit too much.
I'll come down to 23rd yesterday. It's good right off.
Okay.
Both lanes, all the kids. I went really slow. They stuck in my car.
I don't know.
Was it?
They stuck in my car on Friday. I opened my mirror to last night.
That's one thing I don't mess with women. Let me tell you something. The only one I mess with is my wife. And believe me, I've always got the last 2 words. Yes, dear. Yeah, that's not right. I mean,
They just won't move. They're real slow. They just laugh and stop your car.
The trick is go fast.
put it neutral.
Then see if they go.
No, yeah, no.
I know, I'm kidding.
You gotta be careful with that, because when you get your vehicle, they say you put that,
Right.
Yeah.
bad. And they have.
Hopefully it is.
somebody over there.
Hopefully they didn't or scratch.
Oh, no, they won't be real slow.
Sometimes I think these kids are pretty stupid. I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't want to have any issues with an adult. Because when I was growing up, they'd get out and beat you seriously beat you. Then turn around and grab you and take you home, and then my dad would beat you. Yeah, it's funny because there was a public works guy, he's not with the village anymore. They were doing some work on the corner of Jeffrey and 223rd Street, okay, and I was a teenager. Okay. And of course, growing up, we always had our hot rods, you know, we were going to make sure we had big tires, loud mufflers, fast engines, and loud radios, think their body okay. And I remember they were saying, you can't turn down 223rd Street, and I was like, I live right there. So you can't do it, it's okay. So I turned around, and I went straight on Jeffrey, and I got to the field. Back then, they didn't have fences on our field. I covered the field with my home. Right? And he followed me all the way home. No, because he wanted me to go all the way around and come up and go back home. I said, I'm not doing that, straight to the field. You know, there's really nothing wrong with that, what I did. I mean, I was going through a field that didn't belong to the village. Okay? He followed me all the way home, went up to the door, knocked on the door, told my dad I was wrong. I got inside the house, man, I was like 17 years old. That was the last time I got a whipping. He said, you know, he's a village employee. He told you not to go this way. You should have went that way. And plus, the village employee was a veteran, and my dad was very loyal to veterans. Now, was I wrong? I was.
You missed part of the story. You rolled the window and called it a punk.
Did I really? No. Oh, that's right. Because he cussed me out when I went through the field. So you're right. I did. I don't use profanity, but there is certain words, you know, I call someone a punk or ignorant or idiot. That's my profanity, I guess. You're right. Because that's right. Because he was a veteran. My dad was very loyal to veterans. And he goes off. He said he put his life on the line so he had a freedom today. You never call him. He didn't care if he was cussing at you, using profanity. It didn't matter. So you're right. You know, it's still embedded. It's a memory that I'll never forget. I've been scarred. Good to have you. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, we are. I think all those things are in the books.
just, I remember that when I was working a little different. And there was talk right there on that big corner, there was a company looking at putting a big hotel. Because you've got ADA, you've got roadway right there. They send their drivers to another hotel in another community, which, that's money. I mean, you know, they're spending big bucks to send these drivers to come in here from Memphis and Kansas City, and they have to spend an overnight. So they're looking at, you know, and they were talking about doing that, and it just kind of fell apart.
I think what happened was at that time the economy fell apart. So I do remember that back in early 2018, 98, that had some of that contract with the economy.
Well, actually, before that, because they built this terminal, and I was driving back towards Chicago. And when they built this terminal, that was in the planning that they knew they were going to get a hotel. And it just never happened.
I think you're going to Lansing stuff, right? Lansing, I think they might be in Indiana.
They may send someone out. Most of them go on also.
I heard they're using Indiana too. They built those hotels out there. Steve?
See, another thing I was thinking about, a couple of weeks back, one of the trustees was saying that all the businesses are leaving the plaza there, and because of the landlord or whatnot. Well, Mr. Lee, the guy who ran the Chinese restaurant there, I know that he left because he put all his kids through college and none of them wanted to take over the business afterwards.
Right.
He said, my wife is doing less and less and I can't carry this business all by myself. And a lot of times, you know, like I'm saying, he's taking a week off because he can't get none of his kids to come in and fill in for him. So I said, you know, I went and told her afterwards, I says, you're misinformed because I know him personally and I know that he wanted to quit. Not because there was something wrong with his landlord. I just don't like that kind of a story to get out. And then you would think that the person making the accusation, the onus would be on them for the burden of proof, but they just make the accusation and then you've got to do your homework to find out. And that's just wrong.
It's funny because I had my campaign office there when he was closing up, when I was running for mayor. And I went in here and tried to keep him stay here. He's like, you know, I'm retiring. You know, and like he told me the same thing. You know, I can't get a family to run a business. And the same thing with the currency exchange. Currency exchange, you know, there, she ended up retiring also. She tried to get someone else to come in and purchase it or run it, and she couldn't find anyone. Again, you look at currency exchanges, you know, that's pretty much a lost. People are using the exchange now. That's why, you know, at one time, think about this, there was a currency exchange here in South Village, there was currency exchange in South Chicago Heights, currency exchange in Chicago Heights, currency exchange, I think there was 2 or 3 in Chicago Heights. Okay? What is there now? What's South Chicago Heights? I think South Chicago Heights is the one I think of right now. You know, it's easier now for people to go to Walmart and pay $2.50 and send as much money as you want and get as much money as you want. You know, your large stores like your Walmarts are taking business away from most type of businesses that used to make a lot of money for someone to come in and cash your check. What else is taken over? Direct deposit. So think about this. Most companies nowadays require you to have direct deposit. And banks have made it easier where if you have direct deposit, we won't charge you fees. But if you continue bringing a check in to have it put in your bank account, we're going to charge you a fee. You know, even our state, that's I think the state of Illinois and the federal government want you to do direct deposit. How many people get their income tax back? It's direct deposit usually. Right? Number one, it's convenient. Number two, you get your money back fast. Hey, if you want a good time, you hear some good music, there's a guy right there. So, we have some good chili over here in a little bit, and some good music. So, I'm looking forward to it. Next question.
I just wanted to say something. And Steve, you are correct, when stuff is posted out there. I don't read the rag, I have to have people tell me what's on that. The disturbing part about it is that you go into the name Sauk Village, Illinois, and if you Google, because companies do that, that's what they're going to see. Is there not some way that it can stop under the name of Sauk Village, Illinois?
Not really. As much as I agree, I would like to see, if you want to downgrade and put people down, it should be underneath your name, but not the community, not the community's name. I mean, we we were incorporated in, what, 1957. You know, it's Sauk Village. But we're not the only communities that have the same problem. I saw, I think it's Staker. They had what went out called the official Staker Facebook page. Country Club Hills have got the same problem. So I'm the mayor out there. Every community has the people that downgrade and want to make a community look bad. Every community, and the funny thing is, a lot of times the people that have those sites are people that don't even live in the community. And when I talk to these other mayors, I talked to the mayor of Lansing. Lansing's got the same problem. I don't know if they got a Facebook page against him, but he's got someone that doesn't even live in Lansing, Illinois, that is constantly attacking him and the administration. So it happens.
So on our Sauk Village, Illinois, that we have for there,
Right.
they can put something like the official Sauk Village.
And what happens is because we've got so many followers now, it's very difficult to change your name. So we just went and just left it, Sauk Village, Illinois. Best thing to do is get more people so that when someone Googles it, it comes up first. Let me tell you something, that other Facebook page may have 1,000 followers, but he paid for those followers. You go off, you promote, you pay, and people like your page because it gets out there. So, we're not paying to promote our site. So you may have 1,000 followers, but if you look, he only has a small handful of Sauk Village residents, and the majority of people that comment on that page are not even Sauk Village residents. So, and the funny thing is that I talk to Sauk Village residents, and I talk to people who no longer live in Sauk Village, and I'll see them, I go to Walmart, and I'll see someone who used to be a resident and say, hey, did you read, it's a joke, I say, did you read Tabloid, the Facebook Tabloid page? And it's like, what's wrong with this guy? It's like, I talked to my parents who still live in Sauk Village, and they told me this isn't true. So they are talking, yes they are. But if you live here, it's not what you're reading. And sometimes it's a joke. I guess everyone needs a common page in the tabloid. That's why your big tabloids are sitting in checkout for Inquirer and things like that. So that's our Inquirer.
Another observation, you may wonder, okay, where's the questions, where's all your critics today? You know where they are? It's a good day for Sauk Village. There's a lot of things going, a lot of positive things going on, and that doesn't make very good news for them anyway.
There is a lot of positive things going on today. This right here is positive. Residents came out to a meeting right here. The arts and craft fair and the flea market going on back here for residents. The senior cook-off.
Chili cook-off, not
chili
senior
cook-off.
cook-off.
We're not cooking the seniors. Sorry about that. I see all the seniors like, I'm not going. The senior chili cook-off. I think I saw the 7th annual chili cook-off. 7 years we've been doing this. And they're still alive. Must be some good chili. And I'm still alive, but I've been a judge for the last, I'm a judge again today. So I was a judge, I think, last year, maybe the year before, but it's good chili, it's a good time, and it's a reasonable price. One thing, you're going to a senior chili cook-off. Sorry, man. But think about this, the price is unbelievable. Where else can you go for that price? They've kept it, the price that they must pay when they were kids.
And get wonderful entertainment.
That's right. So I go for the entertainment mostly. I tell you what, I enjoy it. So, yeah, Tom Dooley. Isn't that Tom Dooley? Yeah, Tom, he always do Tom Dooley. I love that song. It wasn't a couple of years ago, I listened to the words, I was like, maybe I shouldn't listen to this. I still love it. What else we got here? You guys are too easy today. Yes?
I was driving over in that new section, well, it's not a new section, but over behind, well, pretty close to you,
Okay.
that new section over there. And that is the filthiest place I've ever seen. I mean, junk, paper cups and everything, all along, and not just one here and there. It's solid. And we need to get somebody, they've gone on, these kids have gone on with community service. Let them get around there and clean that up.
Very good point. I think last Tuesday night, Kevin brought that up also, that, as the snow was melting, you didn't see anything because we had the snow on the ground. As the snow is melting, it's a total mess. I know every year, right around April, May timeframe, especially when it's close to the graduations, we try to make sure we have a cleanup day. We work with our beautification committee. They're a big push on that. When we do it with the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts, they come out, and some of our other committees come out. So we'll have to make sure that we put that on the list if it's not done by then. I know Kevin was asking residents to pick up your yards and kind of help them out. And as our public works is out driving and fixing water main breaks, things like that, they'll make sure they try to pick up also. But I think this is one thing we face every year when the snow goes. It's really, really bad.
In May, we're going to have, and I can never remember the name of it, but
Clean sweep.
spring clean sweep. But we're going to do it for 2 days. We're always looking for volunteers to come out. It used to be where we would try to get the sites ready to be planted, but we found that there's so much garbage that it takes time. So we're always looking for volunteers to come out and help us clean. We're going to appeal to the neighborhoods. In your neighborhood, if the neighborhoods would just clean up their area, but looking for our main spots. But we're going to do a spring, we also do fall. But we always are looking for volunteers.
I take around my house, I clean it up every day. And then the next morning I get up, and stuff all over the sidewalk.
My husband has
It's
taken
just
it as
ridiculous.
his mission to take care of where the marquee is at. Jack will go over there and pick up garbage. Then I see him going along 394, like when they turn onto 394, picking garbage up along the curb. He goes out and does that because it makes him crazy. But it gives him something to do also.
394 last night. I was coming up, I was home last night at 394 turning on the Sauk Trail. And I looked at the medium in between it and the turning lane, and you're right, it's terrible. I mean, you talk about pop cans and cups and wrappers and garbage all through. Again, I think what has happened is, you think about if garbage is in the street and our snow plows come through, it's all being pushed off to the side. As the snow builds up, as that snow melts, everything just kind of goes down and it's there. I think what happened is, this last week or so, we started seeing all the summer go away, and it's become very visible, garbage.
But you also get that stuff in the summertime too.
Oh, you do?
And it's not just kids. It's people driving along and they get ready for a coffee cup and out the window. Pop cans, out the window.
It's something you say that because, again, I see it all the time. And the thing is, in the summertime, it's a little bit more visible. And I think some of the residents take a little bit more time to pick it up. Where in the wintertime, all of a sudden, we've got this great big, large amount of garbage. But, I travel to China for work every once in a while. And I see that in China, which really kills me. You're driving, I'm a passenger, and you see people just throw stuff out. But in China, they have people that are sitting there sweeping the streets constantly. And then they get these great big old brooms made out of bamboo and stuff. And I always wanted to buy one for my wife, but I never knew how to get it home on the plane. It's big, though. It's probably stands up this high, and then it's got these bristles that go way out like this. I'm like, hey, I've taken pictures and I've showed her. I was like, hey, I can't even bring home for her. But, in the United States, we don't have that. What we have is us. We're not paying someone to sit out there and just sweep the streets and pick up garbage. And we talked about before in other meetings that the lack of respect for people's property, the lack of respect and the lack of pride. Pride is keeping that garbage in your car till you get home and taking that garbage and bagging it up and putting it inside your garbage can. That's pride.
Last year, I remember we had a call, and it's just a story, and I'm seeing it already, the kids are saying, get off the bus, we're at the bus stop, right on my corner. I don't have any kids, so all these kids getting off, and that's the first thing you see, they'll throw the trash right on the ground, right there on my corner. And it's always, when they get off the bus, it's clean out, clean the bus, go over there. And it's like, you can't cut those kids, because they're, so they do.
Can we do like what that do down south? Littered, $50 fine, $75 fine for posting in different places, and maybe code enforcement police officers, we put it on the books. You litter, we're fining you.
I think We
But when we get some signs to post it, and then we can enforce it, it's like you do down south. There's like these single signs all the time. You litter, you're paying $150. They catch you.
So there's the two things,
And
catch
it
it.
keeps the thing, huh?
They have to catch it. A lot of times they're smart. You don't see people throwing stuff out their window when they got police officers. Yeah.
Somehow, somewhere.
Sharon?
Shouldn't the businesses also clean in front of their buildings on a daily basis, just like a homeowner would?
Definitely.
I think I worked for a gas station years and years ago, and that's one of the things we did as employees every day, is we went out and cleaned around the pumps and took in the garbage. But I've also noticed that a lot of our businesses don't have a container for people to put garbage in.
Right. The businesses are supposed to, in fact, we're going to be having our spring cleaning in May, but, code enforcement will be out, getting businesses. It's a lot easier, like we just talked about, the snow going away, you start to see stuff. I'll tell you who's usually good at is going out cleaning up this fairway. They went off last year. They had one individual that every morning, his job was to walk around the whole entire plaza picking up garbage. Now, I don't know if he did it during the wintertime, but again, I think sometimes as a village, we just have to kind of remind our businesses, and you bring up good points. I'll have Sherry put a letter out from the mayor's office reminding businesses, hey, the snow is melted, spring is here, it's time to make sure we spruce up. Last year, I think about our businesses, they did a pretty good job sprucing up last year. A lot of businesses went in there, they top coated their parking lots. They did some improvements to their fascias and things like that. So again, a lot of that happened because of a letter we sent out from both Sherry and myself, letting them know that we need to spruce things up. So we'll get that letter out again. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Everyone. We have people coming in, and you don't have to wait, you can do it now, or if you have any questions you want to ask, or if you've got questions for later, we got Post-its on the table there. We got pens, you can write your questions down. The board is facing the opposite way. You can just throw a Post-it on there, and then, we'll get to those questions. Or if I'll leave that board up there and pick it up right later tonight, or later this afternoon. So, at the end, if you got something you think about it, or you want to run back over here during the senior chili cook-off. You run over here, write your notes down, stick it on that board, and flop it on there, and I'll get it later. Just make sure you don't do it in between breaks when they're not singing. A few minutes left. Anyone have any questions? Yes, Sharon.
I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but I keep hearing about bringing Sauk Village back. I moved here in 1974, and I came from the west side. And to be honest with you, I thought I was moving into an area where it was the Hatfields and the McCoys. There was nothing to hear about somebody smashing a bottle on the bar and in the bowling alley and stabbing somebody. I mean, I was really shocked at the neighborhood I had moved into. But it grew, and the people grew together over the years, and things got better. And I think that we're probably in that stage right now where people just need to, like you said, start saying hi to each other, talk a little bit and get to know each other, instead of having these people on the social networks that are putting up walls. I saw one yesterday or the day before where they're actually threatening people from even speaking to each other. And I don't see how that kind of thing is going to bring, any village forward, and I don't see how they think that just changing administration will reverse the damage they've done.
Social media, like I said earlier, I don't have time. I'd do good if I wish someone a happy birthday and put a couple things out there real quick, and I have to have this stuff ready to go on there, so I just cut and paste. I mean, that's how fast I'm on, I'm off. Someone said, I saw you were on. It's on my phone, so because my smartphone is on all the time, it shows that I'm available. But, I'll be honest with you, I don't get on there that much. It's a shame what's happening on social media. But your statement of bringing Sauk Village back, that's not what this administration has been pushing for the last 2 years. This administration has been pushing to move Sauk Village forward. Okay? There's no, rearview mirrors on our outlook. there's no looking back saying, oh, I want to go back to this. We're talking about moving Sauk Village forward. What does Sauk Village moving forward? It means filling our houses, our vacant homes. It means bringing more businesses to Sauk Village. It means bringing the village together. It means having events. What have we pushed for the last 2 years? Family events. You know, bring events where you bring the whole entire family out. You know, we've had events out in the park. You know, again, bringing Sauk Village together. You know, that's, and I feel the same thing. You know, let's bring it back to the way it was. I don't want it back to the way it was. You're right. You know, we were a rough community. You know, my parents moved here when I was 5. It was rough. You know, when my parents moved here, we were called, what, Cardboard City? I think we had more houses boarded up. I don't want to go back. I want the houses filled. You know, I want us talking to each other. So, you know, you may hear people say, bring us back. I don't want to go back. I'm going forward. So, I don't want to turn around. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to look at my rearview mirror. Okay, it happened in the past. We learned from it. You learn from your mistakes. I think as a community, we've learned or should have learned. We learned a lot in the previous administration. We learned some things to do, some things not to do. You know, you can learn both. You know, administration, you know, unless you're really bad, doesn't do all bad. There is some good points you can pick up from the previous administration. And I think sometimes we dwell on the negative and the things that was wrong, and you can learn from those. But some good things did come out. Some good things because they did good things, so we learn good things moving forward. So, is there a tasting each other? Oh, any other questions? This is good to me. I'm enjoying it. Where's Kurt? You have a news one then? She snuck in over there. Oh, yeah, Frank had to go run your table for you so you can go over here.
No, I wanted to just say hi to everybody. I'm at the craft fair. Please feel free to leave here, go to the craft fair. We have beautiful scarves and wonderful things over there for you.
That's what I do.
Bracelets. And then take a break after 12 and come and have some chili at the senior center.
There you go.
Busy day today.
There's also a flea market too.
Tonight at Jellies.
Tonight, Jellies, they got a fundraiser for our K9 unit. So if you need something to eat, you're going to have to go out for supper. Was it $15 at the door?
It's 20. I thought it's 20 at the door. 15 if you get it ahead of time.
Yeah, so if you get a ticket that time, it's $15, $20 at the door. Again, it's a fundraiser for our K9 unit. And I always get his name wrong. Falco.
It's a spaghetti dinner, not dog food.
All right, there you go. That's my problem. Living in the past and thinking about Bosco. All righty. Any other questions? I'll tell you what, we've got the post-it notes on the table over there. I really appreciate you all coming out. I'll be around for a little bit, talk to you. Again, I enjoy these. I enjoy having them. I enjoy talking to the residents. Again, the second Saturday of every month is when we get these scheduled for. So, you know, it's only a couple hours, but I think we kind of make it, you know, we try to make it enjoyable at the same time, trying to make sure you answer the questions. You know, we've got the questions written down for today. Get the questions and answers written out for the next meeting. So every meeting you come, you'll get a copy of the previous meeting's questions and answers. We'll get them out on the mayor's Facebook page. Again, going back to transparency, that's a good question. Again, trying to make sure the residents are getting the information. And I think, you know, Steve brought up a good point when you're here. You know, you say, why isn't some of maybe my critics not here? Okay, it's because they came to the first one and they found out that no matter what question they got asked, they got an answer to it. And usually a critic doesn't want an answer. They're looking for you not to answer a question so they can criticize you more. Right? So getting these questions and answers out are important. They're important probably to you, but they're more important to me. That I can show that, you know what, you've asked that question. Hopefully I've answered the question. I may not answer the question the way you want it. But hopefully it's as truthful as possible. We look for, I think, giving as much information as possible. So we talk about giving the board trustee information. We want to make sure the residents receive the information possible. So, again, thank you very much, and have a great time. Stick around. Again, a lot going on. Senior Arts and Craft Fair going on over here. You've got the senior chili cook-off over here, I'm sorry, at 12 o'clock. And then you've got the community center is having the craft fair show in the back. Thank you very much.
Maybe something I wanted to get.
You can't sit in one place too long. Yeah, Rose Lynch and one maybe one of those chili judges.